So this is the third tournament that we've done this year already?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of depend on how you count. So right now, guys, we're in VAL Season 2. Quick recap, like Season 1 we did Beat Saber, we did Space Pirate Trainer, we did Arizona Sunshine, we did Island 359, we did After H, we did Skyfront, we did a lot. So anyway, Season 1 was incredible, awesome sponsors, awesome games. We set some of the all-time VR esports records, and that was pretty incredible. So, and Nathan has been here for that entire time, so that crazy ride. The league, guys, is like a year ago was just a concept in basically our minds. I think, actually a year ago in May, we held our first ever bigger cross arcade tournament. So that was Blasters of the Universe.
Yeah.
So you remember that?
Oh yeah, that was
actually no
ages ago.
I know. So Blasters of the Universe, we had 10 arcades, and we're like, this is huge. This is the biggest VR arcade tournament ever. And it was 10 arcades. We had 4 in California. Little did we know that the league would get quite a bit bigger. So, fist bump to everybody out there who's done VR esports and made a thing in the past year.
Yeah, you've made all of this possible.
So anyway, super grateful for what it's become. So quick recap. So tonight we're going to do some of the matches live between the competitors. We're going to give you an update on the brackets. So this is actually a historic moment for VR esports. This is one of the very first strategy and card battling tournaments that's ever been held in VR. We've scoured the internet for kind of previous strategy tournaments, and there's been few and far in between, right? VR esports is so new.
Yeah, it's just there really has not been a lot, and we're one of the only organizations that's hosting this event. It's us, and then it's ESL,
We got ESL and Oculus, and then VR Master League and Collegiate League. Those are kind of the 4 main VR leagues, but I think, we've done a lot. We do a lot of different countries, and so that's been really cool to see our reach. Let's...
Yeah, well, speaking of tournaments, we actually have some footage from our last tournament we did, Space Junkies, and so I think we can cut to that and show people what we last did in the last tournament.
Yeah, so that one, we'll just roll to it and we'll kind of talk about it for a little bit.
Let's go.
Dans ce jeu, on peut se déplacer en 3 dimensions, donc en haut, en bas, comme à droite à gauche. Donc ça change vraiment, on va dire, des FPS classiques. Je trouve vraiment que ce jeu est lié au e-sport. Donc il y a vraiment beaucoup d'actions, on se tire, on va se chercher, on vole, etc. Bien joué, mec! Alors mon perso, ça va être le buzzkill, c'est le plus rapide mais le plus faible. Il faut bouger très vite, mais tu te fais très vite tuer.
Du coup, mon personnage préféré, c'est le crabe, parce que du coup, il a un peu plus de vitesse que la normale. Je suis plus dans le combat rapproché, et je joue beaucoup aussi sur les esquives. Donc ça permet de pouvoir pas mal esquiver, d'avoir un peu plus de vitesse que la norme.
Je préférais jouer un personnage rapide parce que j'aime bien chercher les ennemis et directement aller vers les armes en premier.
C'est mieux d'arriver avec un fusil à pompe qu'avec un pistolet devant l'adversaire en premier.
Alors moi, mon arme préférée, c'est le slingshot. Elle a un dégât vraiment monstrueux, sa portée est incroyable. Je vais surtout être sur cette arme-là.
Mon arme préférée sur le jeu, ça reste le fusil sniper. On peut faire de beaux trucs avec, vraiment. On rigole bien, même avec les équipes adverses. On discute à chaque fois dans le lobby, donc c'est l'endroit, le hall. Donc c'est vraiment super.
On n'a pas beaucoup de jeux e-sport qui se développent pour l'instant en réalité virtuelle. Space Junkie, je pense que ça va être des précurseurs par rapport à ça.
Devant la pression, si jamais on perd, on est éliminé, etc. De se voir grimper les échelons au fur et à mesure, on ne sait pas quand ça va s'arrêter, on a juste envie que ça continue, c'est super.
Du coup, la prochaine, pour ma part, je m'inscris direct.
Absolument, oui, c'est tout ce que j'ai à dire.
Totalement, bien sûr. À aucun moment on n'hésitera.
Direct.
Okay, so that's it. So as you can see, our VAL champions there, you saw a little video. They were amazing, very incredible. Thank you to all the spacers that took part today in this stream. Thank you very much. A round of applause for you. You guys rock. You guys are amazing. Excellent, excellent. Thank you, everyone who participated in the alpha, the beta. You helped us get this game done. You helped us get this game out. We want you to have lots of fun. Come and see you in space. Get in space today. Go download the game. Go get your console rolling. And let's get into Space Junkies. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Okay, guys, so that was just like a quick snapshot of what we had done for our previous tournament with Ubisoft and Space Junkies. That one was pretty amazing. We had over 90 teams register in 15 countries for that, so that makes one of the largest VR PvP esports events to date. So, I mean, Nathan, what do you think about the Space Junkies tournament?
I mean, it was really exciting to watch for one. I mean, like, you're not in the actual headset, but you definitely feel like it when you're following the players just maneuvering in like a 3D space in general, and having these like crazy guns that you see in a lot of like sci-fi shooters, and people playing it competitively, seeing like what they do. Like, it's like, it's one thing to watch like a game with a really amazing concept, but it's another thing to see people play it competitively and actually use it, like understand the game and use it to their advantage.
Yeah, and I think it was dope. I remember when I was like a little kid, I'd play in a real tournament. That was like Unreal Tournament, but in VR, like on steroids.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So anyway, glad you guys got to see that. That was actually a little just quick snapshot from Mind Out, which was our European champions for that. So they kicked a lot of butt to get to that point.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, and the fact that they're located so close to Ubisoft, like their actual game studio. Yeah, I mean, there's just some like magic in the air that they did so well. So they, if you want to check out the VR League hosted by ESL Oculus, that team is actually still playing. And so the last chance qualifiers were last weekend, but then the Space Junkies tournament is upcoming. So if you love VR and VR esports, you're a fan of Space Junkies, go ahead and check that out, or follow them on Twitter. It's VR League. So just incredible stuff.
Yeah. And next we have. So from Skyworld is also Arizona Sunshine, which you guys may be familiar with, and they have a DLC coming out. And unfortunately, we don't have any videos concerning that, but they've provided us with a couple of screenshots, as you can sort of see over here. It's called The Damned. And we haven't heard too much information about it, but from what we can kind of see from the clips is that it looks like maybe like a missile silo or something, so pretty similar to the Deadman DLC where they're running through that. But that was set before the events of the base game, so I'm curious to see where they go with that. But yeah, any more thoughts on that?
Yeah, so Vertigo is just a really, really cool studio. So just like we're going to talk about their upcoming projects a little bit. So they've done Skyworld, the original game, and then Skyworld Kingdom Brawl, which is our focus tonight. But then they also make Arizona Sunshine, which is actually the #1 game worldwide in arcades. More people come in and they've never seen a VR arcade or done anything VR arcade before. They see Arizona Sunshine. They're like, I want that. I want hot deserts, zombies in the desert, rattlesnakes on my feet. Do you think there's zombie rattlesnakes?
I mean, hopefully not, because both of those things terrify
that
me.
sounds terrible. Actually, is that unique? Have you ever? Brandon's over there. Brandon, have you ever heard of zombie rattlesnakes? Maybe somebody's drawn them on like DVR or something.
I mean, there was that one TV show that had there was a zombie deer, and that's like what like led to the zombie apocalypse, or like that was like the first hint. I can't remember what movie that is. So like, if you're in the chat, like please comment and remind me. But yeah, that would be I hope that's not in the DLC, because there's not a lot of information about that. They've been pretty tight-lipped about it, and so I'm pretty excited because, like, as Ryan said, it is the top VR game right now and is my personal favorite.
Actually, Master Gaming VR says if there's not zombie rattlesnakes, there should be in the chat. So I
heavily disagree.
So Nathan disagrees. I don't know, maybe one of those like first level enemies. But the Damn DLC, it's really cool. There's actually some gameplay trailers on YouTube you can check out. But Arizona Sunshine, an amazing game. People just love to get in with their friends and then play through a whole. There's like 5 or 6 levels in the base game, and really excited. There's like some amazing new scenes. I think they're at the top of a dam, right? Like you saw that in the slides.
Think, yeah, you can kind of see it in the slides.
Yeah,
but
anyway, if you got a chance, check that out too.
Yeah. And then the last video we want to show you is just like to do with Skyworld, the tournament that we're running right now, and we're just really excited for it. So yeah, let's roll that.
Yeah. All right, we're back.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. I think that short promo just shows the power of Kingdom Brawl. So.
Oh yeah, there's definitely like a lot of work that was put into this game, and like I don't know if you guys have tried the game before, but I'm definitely a big fan. Like I played Clash Royale and Clash of Clans beforehand, and like has a lot of similarities to that. But being able to see like the terrain in 3D was just super cool. Like I'm personally a big fan of like League of Legends and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
There's got lane control in this game and everything.
Yeah, exactly. And it's always been like one of my dreams for like when I'm watching competitive League of Legends to be able to watch it in VR, like actually move around the map, kind of like how the spectators do sometimes. And yeah, you kind of get this in this game, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, so I'd actually love to put on my history hat for just a minute. Where's my history hat? Put it on for
Oh
just a
yeah, your
minute.
imaginary history hat.
But actually, for this game, this is a pretty historic moment because it's the very first VR esports card-based battler ever, and some of the very first like strategy games ever held for as far as tournaments in VR, and I think definitely one of the very first international tournaments for sure.
Oh,
so
for sure.
We've had both an EU bracket and a North American bracket, and then an at-home bracket. So, talking about the history hat, I don't know if you guys want the history minute with Ryan, or like if there was beer, we could do like drunk historians.
That'd be funny.
I'm just a very amateur armchair historian. So actually, strategy games have had a long history. People have been playing backgammon in Iran since like 3500 BC. Actually, the very first like tabletop game ever was checkers around 3500 BC. And funny fact is, chess actually wasn't invented until about 400 AD in India. So, but people have been gathering around, tabletops for a long, long time. I mean, it's just something really natural and human about that. And then, Nathan, do you by chance know what the very first video game ever was?
I want to say Pong, but I feel like there was something before that.
Something before that. It was crazy. Guess what year it was?
Let's say 1930s.
No, a little bit later than that. So
Okay.
World War II, you got like some like mathematicians doing calculations, but it wasn't until 1950 that someone actually invented a machine just to play tic-tac-toe on.
Oh,
So, that was actually the very first video game ever was tic-tac-toe. I don't know. I feel like that's okay. They called it machine. Actually, so in the following year, that machine was destroyed because the guy was like, this is a cool little side hobby project, the very first video game ever. But he didn't even know the significance of what he created. And so he just like, it just got dismantled. He's like, let's use that for something else. So,
that's a shame.
yeah, I know. So then the actual very first computer game ever was checkers in 1951.
Oh, okay.
So checkers is pretty amazing, and then basically video games have grown up since then, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, but
Way
in the world
grown
of
up.
strategy, you had, chess. You had obviously like some of the famous matches between like humans and AI that have gone on in strategy, and then you have obviously like the emergence of like real-time strategy games. Like Dune 2 is very old.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that one?
Honestly, like, no.
It's okay.
No.
It's not great now. Like you look back on it, it's not aged well, but it was actually found one of the inspirations of the very, very first Warcrafts.
Okay.
And then this RTS strategy, and then card games have actually started to really come together. So card games didn't emerge until 980, going way back, and then coming all the way forward again. Actually, collectible card games weren't really a thing until like 1993.
Wow, okay, that's a lot later than I would have thought.
I know, right? You would have thought like in the 70s, like kids would have had like some version of proto Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, disco chips.
Yeah, something a little bit beyond poker or whatever.
Something a little bit beyond poker, right? But actually, the current trend of card-based battling didn't start until 1993, when Wizards of the Coast was still very much in basement stage. In fact, the company almost didn't have enough to produce the actual card decks, but they did, and they made like a few like limited print runs, and they just like sold out like crazy. As soon as people saw like what Magic the Gathering could be, suddenly all of a sudden Wizards of the Coast goes from like this little tiny company in a basement to like this huge juggernaut. Eventually got bought out by Hasbro. They just released Magic the Gathering Arena, right?
Yeah.
So little do you know that like Pokemon and all this other stuff like didn't really start until like 93, like all this collectible card game trade. Like So it's pretty crazy, right?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And it's something that you were kind of touching on a little bit. What I find really cool is the fact that like the games at their very core mechanics, like what their concept, what they're actually about, has not changed a lot, but they've just evolved and adapted to the modern times. And so like this game that we're seeing right now, like at its very core, it's just like another card game, but seeing it evolve into like this new mechanics of like having lanes and having towers and all that kind of stuff, sees evolve. And same with Hearthstone as well, where like the
Hearthstone's great, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if it's just because of like the art style has modernized, but like when I think of Magic, I don't think of it as being super old. Like I remember from middle school, but that was not that long ago, to be honest.
Right, yeah, for sure. And Nathan, I think you're bragging just how young you are. I'm a millennial. I think you're a millennial too, barely, right?
Just barely. Yeah, 95. I think that's the cutoff point, if I'm not mistaken.
Anyway, I'm so wise now. But geez, where was I? Okay, so like these card-based battlers have basically like commanded huge audiences. Like Hearthstone, right, has gotten really big, and then you basically got like Skyward Kingdom Brawl, which the developers really like took a lot of what they learned from that. Clash of Clans, obviously Clash Royale, huge, and brought all that into VR. Now the cool other thing is that I think like when you play like chess against a computer, like you kind of lose some of that human presence. Like one of the best things about chess is you can actually see the person sitting across from you, and you're like, what move are you gonna make? And you're like trying to read the other person's mind, right?
I can't share that same experience. I've played chess like 3 times in my life.
Only against a computer, only on a tiny mobile screen.
Yeah, pretty much. Bored, waiting for the internet to come back on.
But VR actually like brings that back like full circle, right? So like it's that very like cool like tabletop. Another cool VR game is actually Settlers of Catan. They brought that over, right?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And so Kingdom Brawl is awesome because you can actually like look and you can see the opposing person's avatar. You can see where they turn and like put their head. You can see like their units start to appear on the board. And, like what's cool about VR is you can actually like peer around the board, and it brings back a lot of that like classic tabletop experience. So that's really what VR I think brings to strategy games and tabletop, is that like missing human element plus the actual experience of having a board right in front of you.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree, because like when you play modern games and you have like these NPCs in the thing, even like for those very narrative story-driven games, like at the end of the day, you know that they're fictional people, and like the animation may be super smooth and like super beautiful, and they may have like these amazing lines done by these amazing voice actors, but at the end of the day, you know that it's all scripted. But that's why people love multiplayer so much. Like they see, like they get to talk with their actual friends and like know that it's an actual person on the other side, and they can tell by the way the person acting, like that's not just an AI, like that's an actual person that's moving, that like makes silly mistakes and is unpredictable. And honestly,
sure, like that's the cool thing about playing against a human being, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it was actually very interesting. So like, for those who don't know, I graduated with a degree in like video game development.
Education,
that's
awesome.
Exactly.
Oh, that's cool.
And one part of that is that for our final project, we have to make a game with a group of 15 people, and we were actually banned from making multiplayer games because our teacher said that people just inherently have fun together, and so it's hard to judge the funness of a game when it's multiplayer, because you're just gonna have fun with your friends regardless. Well, most of the time.
Yeah, that's actually really cool, and I could see that because I remember like getting around like screens when I was a kid, and even if it was a single player game, it was like fun to play with your friend, right? So I don't know, your teacher probably wouldn't have liked Apex Legends very much, but
yeah, probably not.
Or I don't know, just for the class. But anyway, we're getting some cool comments in. So
yeah, what are they all saying?
Shale, who's currently at the top of leaderboards, is saying he's totally to the point. He's had some interesting interactions with Skyward Kingdom Brawl before and after matches, right? Like waves, fist bumps, just stuff like that. So like the whole thing that's really cool about Kingdom Brawl is it really brings back that magic. So anyway,
exactly.
Love those comments coming. Yeah. So we're gonna actually get to some of the matches here pretty soon, right?
Yeah. Do we have an ETA on the match? Oh, in 5 minutes? Excellent. Okay, cool. So we are very excited for the match to start, but until then, we can just kind of keep talking. So like, how is the chat feeling today?
Yeah, so let's get somebody to tell us what they feel in the chat. We can talk a little bit about the mechanics and kind of what to expect.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
we probably have a couple viewers who haven't or aren't super familiar with the game.
Yeah, I think we have some good like Kingdom Brawl fans, right? But let's talk about like Kingdom Brawl specifically. So we've talked like really like broad sense on like everything, like entire like the history leading up. This is like pretty historic because it's just in VR. It's like one of the very first card-based battlers ever. But like when we focus on Kingdom Brawl, like Nathan, we've played the game. Like, what do you think are some of the key mechanics? What do you think a player really has to do to succeed in this game?
Well, I think it's one of those games where the concept is quite simple, but actually mastering the game has a quite high skill ceiling, because you have your mana and you just like place down your cards, like try not to run out of mana, or like make sure
I always run out of mana because I always try to cast the dragons over and over again.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Just like throw down the most OP ones.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I mean, if you think about it, like each card is basically just like a big game of rock paper scissors that you lay down the lane. And one of the strategies that I saw online was that to actually like hold your cards, like for one reason, just so that you can like spam 3 cards in a row and just shock the enemy. But also for the fact that when you play your card too early, it reveals what you're going to do, and so they can counter back. Whereas if you wait for and ultimately, like it's going to take a couple seconds for the card to get closer to your castle.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and so spawning it much later surprises them, and then that's like some of the small nuances, things that really separate the skill levels of these players.
Yeah, because this game has a crazy amount of skill. One whole mechanic is you really just want to bait your opponent into releasing all their cards early, or like releasing the units which you have effective counters for. So, one really key mechanic is you can craft your deck beforehand, and during this tournament we actually allow you to switch the decks like before the matches, right?
Yes.
And so
hopefully
that's
people aren't too salty about that.
Yeah. So that actually,
they didn't know.
Right. And so I think people like for the most part stick to their favorites, right? Because it's a lot of.
Oh, okay. It actually looks like we're about to start the match, and so we're gonna switch over.
Yeah, and so Shale actually, he says the spawn line is a huge factor, right?
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
Master Gaming says no trade secrets in chat until after I win. We're telling all the trade secrets right now.
Fair enough. Hey, like if we know, that probably means other people who play the game a lot more than us know.
Yeah. All right. So right now we're going to launch into the whole shebang. So anyway, we have here, like you see, like the huge like tabletop motion. It turns over. There's the board, and then we got the 2 different players right here. So. It's a little bit hard to see, I think, but let's pop this up and we can kind of see which decks they're using right now.
Yeah, for sure. So right now we have Shale versus Stu, who are at one of the North American arcades called Spectrum, which is based in Indiana. Yeah.
And then Stu is actually based out of VR Junkies in Arizona. So.
Oh, okay.
So Stu actually is a really incredible player. He does Space Junkies too, but so he's definitely cross-functional in VR esports.
Yeah, you can see that they're occupying pretty much all the lanes, making sure they have at least one going down each one, so it's not occupied. We can see that the right-hand side is definitely laying down a lot of air. Oh, it's trying to sneak in a little infantry on the right side over there, try and catch them off guard.
Yeah, so right now we're seeing that they're both being pretty aggressive with those flying fortresses, right? Like those are definitely like something they're spawning right there.
Yeah. So far, still pretty early on in the match, but overall looking pretty even. Looks like the spawn line is pushing up. Oh, looks like the spawn line moved up dramatically, actually. Okay, oh yeah, spawning some swordsmen towards that. That looks like a knight. Yeah, the screen we're looking from is actually quite small, so it's a little bit hard to see the action, but it looks like there's some infantrymen attacking the castle on the right.
This is not Shell's video, so Brandon, which competitors do we have on right now? We got Waylon versus Brandon, so sorry, our mistake. Let's fix that really fast.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So, no, we're good. So, anyway, like, as viewers, everybody can kind of see at home, you got your mana counter right there, down, and you kind of see that's, like, how much mana you have left in order to do the cards. And each of these cards are created or crafted before the match. So one thing that's really interesting is that you can actually put like certain power-ups and boosts on your matches. And so like you got like an extra like one that's like vulnerability to fire, but it's like, or less vulnerability to fire, but lowers your health overall, which is actually a pretty big deal, right? Because we don't have Waylon or Brandon right now actually using the fire, but that's actually something that people use a ton, right?
Yeah,
so fire can take out a huge amount of troops all at once.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't want to spawn all your units at once, otherwise if they're bunched up like that, then the fire will take them out super easily. Oh, but it looks like that our blue competitor over here is really getting pinched right now. They've lost both towers and they're taking hits to their castle. And this looks like the game is reaching the end point over here.
Yeah, because you really want to get that turret control down. If you start to lose your turrets, you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, and for those people who may be a little bit more new to the game, the turret like shoots periodically, just like little bits of chip damage, and like in like the short term it's not so bad, but like it definitely adds up over time, and so that's something you definitely want to prioritize if you have the luxury and you're not just completely pinched on all sides by the opponent.
Yeah, so we see over here on the left, he's selecting the fire, right? So fire is kind of like a good move, but it can also be like a desperate move. So,
oh yeah, and that looks like game. Looks like he couldn't.
Game. There we go.
Yeah. Oh, I just love the fact that you can see these opponents like just express themselves.
Oh, I know, right? You
in
can
VR.
see like their hands.
Yeah.
So, my leads, you have been awarded. So anyway, at the end of the match, you get a gold. Currently, we're doing best of 3.
Yes.
So anyway, these guys have actually made it all the way. We're just right before the finals. The finals are actually next week on Tuesday, May 14th.
Yep.
So we're trying to cast those around 7 p.m. Mountain Time, since we're right here in Salt Lake City.
Yes.
So
MDT. Don't forget about that daylight savings.
yeah. So I mean, we got some tips from Shale here in the chat, right? So territory disciplines are really helpful over time. So anyway, we got 1 to 0. So that's where we're
Yeah.
at.
Let's see if they can turn it around for us.
Yeah, I mean, both of them going quickly again for flying fortresses. That seems to be like
Seems to
pretty
be the
common.
meta pick around here.
The meta pick, and then they're both going for the center lane of control right now. They're not actually going for either of the lanes on the side. So you see those disc battleships, the flying fortresses, right?
Yeah, which in my mind makes a lot of sense because the side lanes probably obviously take the longest amount of time to get to those towers, and those towers like effectively create like a little choke point because they have to focus them down before they can move past them. And so the 2 lanes in the middle are just like the shortest route, and unless you're trying to you have the spare resources to sneak around the sides, like that just seems like the most
Right, it takes time because they
logical
got to
thing.
go around the hills and bushes. You can actually do some like really small tricks, like you can roll your wrist, and that can deploy your units a slightly different space. So anyway, actually, so the blue tower on the left here, he actually successfully fended off attack. I think that was a knight that got to it.
Yeah, it
at
looks
least
like
some
it.
ground units. So this match actually has a good match between ground. There goes the snipers. So the snipers actually killed me in one of the matches I played. I feel like the snipers are pretty vulnerable though. So he's coming back up here with.
Just got a knight to run it down.
Yeah. So I mean the sniper's fairly low on health, kind of glass cannon.
Yeah. Though it looks like again that the red side is getting pinched once more and the boundary lines are pushing towards them. Which I feel like in this game, like you can't in other games sometimes you can pull off like a sneaky little trick and just end the game like that. But in Skyworld, once the game starts rolling in your favor, like it really just kind of keeps going like that, and there's not a whole lot you can do. Like there's not a ton of counterplay to that in my opinion. What do you think about that?
Which strategy you just mentioned?
I mean, just like the whole game of Skyworld in general. Like when you get behind, you start to snowball from there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like once your turrets start to go, it really snowballs fast. So in the last match, we saw that match was over in less than 5 minutes. So you can see that obviously the longer it can go on, the more tightly matched competitors are. So it actually looks like Brandon, they both did really awesome this last match, but it actually looks like this one's a little bit
more one-sided.
yeah, because I mean
yeah.
Both,
he just lost both
turrets.
towers at the same time.
Okay, I think the flying disc
man.
fortresses, this is gonna be crazy.
Yeah, this just looks like the death throws right now. He's
So,
just desperately throwing cards down.
If somebody
to fend
might
them
throw
off.
out a firebomb here.
Yeah.
You got the blue towers on the left.
Oh man, but
That keep is taking a ton of damage, right?
Yeah, but those airships are just continue to
The
pelt
airships.
them. Yeah, it is not looking good on the red side. And now it just looks like blue side is just spamming his units. His units don't seem to be going down fast enough, and he's just able to go on. Oh, but it looks like red side has actually managed to sneak in some troops close to him. Okay, so maybe they're Maybe
Oh.
he's able to get his foot back into the game.
Maybe. We'll see. So blue actually has a ton of mana, and he's
Yeah.
spawning a ton of those ships. Red over here.
Yeah, unfortunately, when they're not looking at their wrist, we don't know what they have in their hands or not. But it looks like the timer briefly showed, and they actually have less than 30 seconds, so we might even go to overtime mode, which for those who don't know, that just means if any building goes down during overtime, then it's that person's loss, which is actually to the advantage of the red side because both his towers are already down, and so like his pretty much what would lose him in the game would be the same as what would lose him in overtime. And actually it looks like he's actually making a big comeback over here. And with the I guess
Actually,
blue
look
side
at
is
this.
also-
Yeah, Blue's getting some like decent damage right there on the keep.
Yeah,
This
now
is
I
actually
can't
going a little bit
see
further
if
than
both
I
his
thought.
towers have gone down or not. But if a tower is still up on the blue side and it goes into overtime mode, then all he has to do is just take out that tower. And oh hey, he actually
Here we go.
Oh,
here's
here we
overtime.
go. Yeah, okay, yeah. So both towers are down. So pretty much the victory condition is just the same. And looks like he's actually meant to turn it around.
Okay, so overtime and then defeat, just right there.
Yeah, so that looks like it's 1-for-1. Okay, yeah, so maybe not as decisive as we thought it was going to be. This makes it more exciting, though.
Oh geez, so we got a 1-for-1 game right here. So both of them, Brandon and Waylon, right? Both of them have exactly one win.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. So Shale actually corrects us. Actually, Shale's at the top of the leaderboard, so he's dealt more in strategy than anybody else. So they have to be tied for overtime. So if one person has one tower still up, they will win.
Oh,
So that's the key
okay,
difference
okay.
right there in overtime.
Yeah, our mistake.
Yeah. So, really exciting though. Like this is what we really like to see. Like typically when we run a VR tournament, like the competition at the end, we see a lot of like 2-0, just because VR games are so very new, right? Like we're not like Hearthstone where like people have had like years to figure out like the best mechanics and
Yeah,
people
exactly.
typically know exactly what's going on. This is really really cool to see. Like as we get to like higher level competitions, it becomes really close right this. So effectively like a 1-to-1. That's really awesome.
Yeah, and like as you've kind of said in previous tournaments, like once we start getting to the final stages of it, that's when the skill levels really start to be evident, and we usually don't get like such close games. It's actually like unlike other esports, like towards like the play-ins and such, where we see the more exciting matches because the skill level is like a little bit more even
Right.
at that time.
Yeah, Overwatch League and all that. So, so anyway, we got here, and
It looks like you just chucked the bomb into the mid lane right there.
yeah, so that bomb like really makes it like pretty difficult to see for one.
Yeah, it does.
And then like you can kind of like hide some units behind it, right? Like as they circle around. So we they're both very good players. So I'm not surprised this match is really close.
Yeah. You know what I want to see in like games like this is that we put motion trackers on the person's face, and so we can actually see the expressions they're making.
Oh,
that would be a lovely dream.
Facebook's
for me.
actually working on some crazy shiz. So
Yeah, no kidding.
I've seen some of that demos out there floating around in GIF mode and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we already have emotes in a lot of games. Like, just put some face trackers onto you. That's what I want to see on the next like VR headset to come out.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Oculus, get on it. Like,
put your emojis. Put some emoji buttons on your headset.
Exactly.
So we have so blue relies a ton on battleships. I mean, that seems to be his like go-to, right? They're pretty expensive in mana and what he casts.
Yeah, but they definitely seem to be working out for him. Except for maybe this
Actually,
round,
look
he's
at
getting
this. So he is
very
his key.
pushed.
He's got like one turret down already.
Yeah. Actually, blue side has both their turrets down from, if I'm not mistaken. Like it's a little.
Geez.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it looks like
That
it
was
looks like
fast.
he's gonna end it. Yeah. Wow, that was a whole lot faster.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
okay.
I knew he was pushing up. I didn't realize
That was super
how
fast,
we're-
dude. Okay, 1-to-1, and then like bam.
Yeah. Dang.
Defeat.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like victory to red side.
Okay, that got pretty exciting, right? Just like realizing, because I think blue is always just relying on those like heavy mana like disc battleships.
Yeah.
And with the heavy mana disc battleships, that like really uses a lot of your mana. And then red, I mean, what do you feel like red really relied on for units?
I mean, it looks like they were trying to do a similar thing with the airships, but then they would also try and like supplement them with like infantry on the ground to sort of like create like a strong spearhead through. And it looks like it actually like it managed to break through and then back in the second match when it looked like that he was going to lose like 2-0, like he actually managed to sneak in his soldiers onto like the second mid row, where like he just didn't expect, and it completely took him by surprise, and that's what completely turned it around for him.
Oh yeah, and I mean, like you can cast some spells that are pretty vulnerable, right? There's like the key thing to know this game is if you played enough, there's some really good counters, right? So
Yeah,
like Thundercloud like really tears up the floating fortresses, which obviously I think Shell's giving us all the secrets.
Yeah,
right?
pretty much. We
But
have
he's
our in-game expert in the chat, which we highly appreciate.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for that.
The cool thing is like I noticed he is about 500 or 600 points above everybody else, like on terms of the leaderboards.
That's insane.
So anyway, Shell's giving us like a little cat emoji.
Oh, lovely.
Anyway, so Shell, if you are out there, you know we hope that Kingdom Brawl continues to get bigger and better as a tournament. So like hold on to that top leaderboard spot. You know, who knows, that could be worth millions one day.
Yeah, who knows? And you know, we would love to also see you in like the other tournaments that we have coming up in the other VR games. Because what I've noticed in the VR esports world is that we have a lot of competitors who just play a variety of games. You know, it's not like the traditional esports crowd where like it's just like these teams playing the same game.
Oh yeah,
like
Overwatch
year
like
round.
12 hours a day, or like League of Legends like 12 hours a day, right? Like you have a lot more
Yeah.
generalists. Yeah. So Brandon is out hanging over here, and we're going to talk about we're going to do for the rest of the show. So just kind of that was the match we're going to cast tonight, right?
Yeah.
And then we're going to do some recaps from earlier. So and
Yeah.
then Nathan, I think you also have some of the brackets that we can talk about.
Yes, I do. Which I'm going to awkwardly turn over to this side, and hopefully Twitch chat doesn't
Master
mind
gaming.
that.
Gotta play them all. Gotta catch them all.
Yeah.
Wait, I gotta play them all VR esports.
Oh yeah, this green screen covers a lot of the junk that we have lying around. Like, is it a fire hazard? I don't know. But you know, we're not going to ask that question today because we are here for esports.
Yeah. So congratulations to Waylon. He is moving on, and
Yes, and we will be playing up again. Well, earlier today we had our other NA match, which was against Stu and Shale, and that was pretty exciting.
We can't throw this up on the screen, can we?
No, we can't.
Okay, so let's just talk about it really fast, and then we'll just kind of look over the screen. So excuse us if we're doing
Yeah.
that, but, we
Mind
can
us
actually post
too
these in the
much.
Discord chat a little bit later on too. Just like throw the files right in there.
Yeah, that would be great.
So we got here the North American bracket. We're just going to talk through it really fast. So we got It's Jason, and then he played against Devin actually from Virtualities. Devin was kind of a noob. You can say that about Devin. I think.
Oh yeah, if
Over
he
there.
probably doesn't mind.
So our own team, home team, lost to It's Jason, right? Stu had to buy that first match, and then he advanced on to It's Jason. Surprisingly, Stu, not surprisingly, Stu advanced on, even though It's Jason put up really tough, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, for the previous match, unfortunately, Jason actually had to forfeit because he had.
Oh, that's right. He had maybe.
I think he had his wisdom tooth pulled out the previous day, and he just was not in any condition to continue.
Right, yeah. So VR esports takes a ton of dedication and focus. So It's Jason. We really hope you're doing well out there.
Yeah. Pray for a swift recovery for you.
Yes. So dental work is serious. And then we got Tyler
Brush
the
your teeth.
man.
Val.
And then we got Shell Disciples of Gaming. Had a couple buys right there. So Shell moved on pretty quickly. Shell's ranked number one seed. And then we got the other side of the bracket. And then we had. Do you want to talk about the other side of the bracket really fast?
Yeah, sure. So on that side, we had Keith versus Brandon, where Brandon was able to sweep Keith pretty good. And what's interesting actually is that the two people who moved on to the semifinals, like our competitors just now, Brandon and Waylon, are actually from the same arcade. Like we matched them
predict that.
separately, but they ended up coming to the same location. So that was very, like, if anything, it was a little bit
That was
convenient
pretty
on our
unexpected.
side.
So we'll go ahead and post these results, but Brandon and Waylon did those pretty well just to match. So they passed Keith from Spectrum, Brandon from Spectrum lost, the Cone Man was out, Wesley from Spectrum also was out, and then Keith and then Lipara Vachirel was out. I hope I said that right.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got some pretty fierce competition to just get to the top here, and then we have the EU brackets, right? We can just cover those super fast as well.
Oh yes, we totally can.
So and then So the EU brackets, we got really strong competitors. Canary, they did awesome in the Space Junkies tournament. Obviously, they did really good here too.
Yeah, were they the ones? Were they the arcade that won the Space Junkies tournament? I can't remember anymore.
No, so they actually, I think they got ranked 5th or 6th.
Okay, yeah.
In the Space Junkies tournament, right?
I definitely remember them being up there for sure.
So they're actually in the Canary Islands, so beautiful islands off the coast of Spain.
Oh yeah, some of these arcades are in amazing locations.
I know, like the tourist hotspots, they make good spots for VR arcades. I want to go visit.
That makes a lot of sense.
And then you actually have Israel's in the EU bracket, so Virality is competing. So we'll go ahead and update those. But that should be exciting. So the EU champion is actually going to play the North American champion.
Yes, which will all be happening on Tuesday the 14th at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, MDT.
Yeah, and then really quick, we'll just cover the brackets right here. So we had not everybody lives within a distance or a driving distance of a VR arcade. You know, we've had some people drive 5 or 6 hours to drive to VR arcades for our tournaments.
Yeah, that was actually the Beat Saber one. Yeah, it was a Canadian guy who drove 4 hours and slept in his car to compete.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
but hey, he won though.
He did.
So it was just
yeah, it's worth it.
It was
100%
incredible.
worth it.
Yeah, that's the real story that I uncovered.
Yeah. So anyway, that was incredible. Like just incredible story that he won after sleeping in his car to compete at an arcade in Canada for Beat Saber.
Yeah, I really hope he comes around for like the next time we do that tournament.
Yeah. So that's my hope too. Anyway, we tossed in a small. The prize bracket is a lot smaller for the home tournaments, but we did want to accommodate this time. So we got Master, Shadow, Server Error, Alex, and Bartubi. So anyway, we moved a lot of their matches to the May 14th. But it's exciting to see what they've done as well. So anyway, that's kind of the tournament where we're at so far. So we can go ahead and post those a little bit later in Discord.
Yeah, and we'll be releasing information about that throughout the week.
All right. Yeah. So for the rest of tonight, we have some pre-matches from earlier in the day.
Yes, and we're just going to cut to that right now.
So we're going to cast a little bit of these,
unfortunately, this time we do not have the split screen where we can see like both perspectives of the opponents, but still, it's like an exciting match to watch, in my opinion. And we won't, I won't spoil it. I don't think you can watch this one.
No, I have not watched this one match in full because this took place earlier today, right, Brandon?
Yeah, it's just
Brandon's our production guy, so shout out to him. So he's done production for Rainbow Six, for Legends, Dota, right?
First blood.
Overwatch?
Okay.
Yeah. Apex Legends. So Brandon's using tech, and then obviously Nathan.
So all valuable things on the table.
Anyway, but this match was recorded earlier today, so let's try to turn down the video sound just.
Yes. Sorry about that.
Let's turn this down a little bit.
There we go.
Sound. There we go. Is that a little bit better?
A little bit more even now.
Okay. All right. So I was just saying, Brandon's way better than me at Rainbow Six Siege and production at Rainbow Six Siege. I tell stories about checkers. Nathan obviously doing the game design. So
Hey, 4 years got to go somewhere, you know.
I know, right? So super grateful to have everybody on the team. And then neither of us, what we were just saying is neither of us have seen this match. What do we got here? So let's actually see if we can't blow this up a little bit and talk about this one. We're going to be letting this run through a lot of gameplay. And so you guys can just kind of check it out. We're just going to let you watch a lot of gameplay, but we're going to throw in a few comments here.
Yeah, exactly. Looks like we jumped in at a pretty interesting point. Looks like Red Side's getting really pinched over there. Like their spawn line has been pushed up. It's pretty backed up. Like they're kind of in a corner, but both towers are still up, and looks like their forces are being it's more lopsided onto the left side. So hopefully there's going to be a possibility for a counterattack, because you know when you focus on one side, you leave the other open. And maybe if he can spread the mana for it, he can like have some troops circle around and attack that tower. But it looks like both of them have been focusing the left side from our perspective, because you can see that the towers on the right side are almost untouched for both of them. And it looks like they dropped the dragon on the right side, your favorite unit, right?
Oh yeah, dragon. 6 mana, overpowered.
Yeah.
Use all your mana, you have nothing left.
But worth it. Wyvern, our mistake.
Oh, right, because you can, as you progress through this game, something that's really cool is you can actually upgrade your cards and upgrade your deck. So you get more gold. For the purpose of the competition, we actually gave players unlimited gold through arcades. Some of the at-home players actually grinded their way through the entire thing. So, hats off to those guys.
Yeah. And you know, just whipping out my arbitrary fantasy knowledge, the difference between a dragon and a wyvern is that the dragon has all 4 limbs, kind of just like any other like quadruped creature.
Source of knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. But then they have wings on the back, which is like anatomically does not work very well. So like a real life dragon would just really not fly. Like it would either just run really awkwardly, or it would just not fly just because the dragon was so heavy in general.
That's important. You play it.
Yeah, that's true. I'm a very big Dungeons and Dragons fan. I played Pathfinder and I played like 4E. Actually, no, you know, let's forget that. I didn't play 4E. Like no one needs to know that. But I play a lot of 5E and a lot of other tabletop games. But like a wyvern in general, a wyvern is typically looking like where the front hind legs are also the wings, and so it's only really got its legs to stand on. Yeah, kind of like a parrot scale.
So here we actually got a lot of. Can you give us a quick update right there on the Nathan on the action right there?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a tiny screen that we're looking on, so we're trying our best to look.
Shale is say depends on what lore you go with.
Yeah, that's fair. I will definitely give that for sure. Yeah, it looks like it's actually evened up. Like even though Red side has lost both their towers, like the spawn line has actually moved up, and it actually might be a little bit of a turnaround here.
This actually looks like a fairly close match. I mean, you got some of those thunderclouds right there in the middle.
Yeah,
and you got both turrets on Red side. A little bit hard to see on Blue side, but you got both turrets still in Red.
Yeah, it looks like Red is actually like doing a really good job over here because like all their troops are like very close to the end over there, and we've got like their little sniping balloons, like taking the little pot shots, which are definitely doing their work over time. Yeah, and if you can protect them the whole game, then you're pretty gold. And it looks like the Red has a pretty strong front line with the wyvern and like a 10 billion troops. Just closing in on that, and this looks pretty decisive in my opinion. Even though the match is about to end in 5 seconds, there definitely won't be any overtimes. Hey, yeah, and that looks like victory. Yeah, actually, did you ever notice that rainbow on the left side? I never noticed that.
No, I didn't. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
look at that, Red won.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, like I've played this game before. But I feel like I've never noticed that rainbow. Like maybe I was looking down at my hand the whole time. Now it looks like they're just gonna adjust their cards real quickly. Oh no, they're just going straight in. Taking a peek. You know it.
Yep. So actually, here, so you can adjust your deck in the middle, right? There's actually So there's a lot of stakes on this. So just quickly to remind everybody at home. There's actually a $1,000 prize pool for this tournament, which is pretty impressive.
Yep.
For the first VR esports tournament card-based battler ever. And the other thing is that the grand prize actually also gets an HTC.
Yeah, which is
it's $500 and a headset. So first place, there's actually quite a bit right now.
It's quite substantial. And I think, like, in our history of VAL, that's our second biggest prize, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, Arizona Sunshine and Island 359 had a really big prize pool because they were combined.
That's true.
Tournaments. And we had a ton of headsets for Space Junkies, around 4,500 total worth of headsets, plus cash prizes for that one. So this one is pretty substantial, just right in line with some of our other tournaments. You can't retire on that yet, but it'd be a pretty good day.
Your mana is too low to play that card.
Yeah, for real. Pay my rent for a little bit, you know?
I know, right? You can at least pay like 1 month's of rent. So,
yeah,
VR Esports, actually, if you want to compete for money, join the VR ESL League. We've sent some players right to there. It's like a good part-time job. So,
yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. I think right here, like, this is a match that Thunderclouds are a continuous favorite. Here.
Oh yeah. Well, it's kind of like doing two things at once. You know, it's like it's taking out those air troops, but also recovering you, so that you just can't play as well for my D&D players out there. You know, Devil's Sight, Darkness combo, the ultimate level 2 cheese. Level 2? Yeah, level 2.
So You know, Red is actually he's mostly spawning down that center lane. It looks like, right?
Yeah, I
He's
think
got
so.
Marauders. He's kind of sending the Marauders to the side.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of trouble spawning over there, but he's managed to catch it right there.
Yeah, so it looks like.
Yeah, which is great because it actually, like, as you can see from this point of view, it's pretty much covering 2 lanes. Like you really can't see what's happening behind that cloud if someone were to see it. It lasts for a good amount of time.
Right. Yeah, I feel like that's probably one of the things we've seen here in the meta emerge in the tournaments, right? Like the thing with like VR esports is like the games are always like trying to find the balance and like which cards are OP, but I think as we've seen this tournament, like the Thunder Cloud is definitely.
Yeah, and you know, like, what I think, like, it just in games in general, is how underrated vision is. Because, like, you know, anyone who's ever played, like, Smash has the items turned on when they, like, have the puppies come on screen and suddenly you can't see anything. Yeah. It's just, like, it's super annoying. Yeah. And if you're fighting against any AI, they're just like, oh, I don't care, like, I don't need this vision. Yeah. It's only you. And same with, like, in League of Legends, like, one of the biggest things they talk about is vision control and how that can, like, make or break games between people. And we can see the same thing happening over here, which I think is very cool because then
it's a pretty advanced mechanic to work with.
Yeah, certainly.
So we actually got
yeah, oh,
so
but it looks
a lot
like
of damage
blue is
turrets.
pushing. Yeah, both turrets are down, but and troops are just kind of like all over the place.
Some more of those blind fortresses, more marauders.
Yeah. Got a little sniper in the air just taking their pot shots. You really gotta deal with that.
And we got one dragon.
But I don't think he has the resources to. Yeah, there's just.
Oh, dude, you got the giant man with the arms. I can't even remember the name of the unit right now.
Yeah, no, me neither. Oh man, but looks like they're in big trouble there, which is, even though the spot line is so far up, I think they might just be going for base races and they're just ignoring.
Oh, dude, there's one thing I about here. It really doesn't matter. You can actually look around the cloud, right? You can't do that in League of Legends.
Yeah, no kidding. I wish.
Oh, so close.
Yeah, which, speaking of which, was something that happened really funny, and like, it's great that we have the at-home tournament because it allows like a lot more accessibility for VR and tournaments and just getting the community to play against each other in like a more competitive environment. Because there was actually a very funny spat with the CLG Academy team because one of their players couldn't get their visa approved, and so they played remotely for the tournament. And it was funny, on the live stage, they actually had a cardboard cutout of their teammate just sitting in the chair playing for them.
Visa
and I thought,
problems,
hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, VR esports is so new, right? And so, like, whatever, people are just doing all sorts of crazy stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hey, looks like the timer's actually running low, so we might actually go into overtime over here. And, like, both towers are down, so it's really difficult to, like, get a hit on that.
Super good.
Yeah, oh, no, it looks like the game actually just ended. Just on the cusp of it. Oh. Yeah, there we go.
Frantically throwing down some cards.
And hey, well, that was pretty good 2-0.
There we go. We got the cloud and everything.
Yeah, no, you gotta figure out your victory celebration pose, you know?
Yeah.
Like
the flip.
Cool.
Okay.
And that's the conclusion of that.
So, anyway, guys, we have loved doing this tournament. It's been really cool. You know, I think a lot of people when they go to an arcade, they'll like choose like the standouts like Job Simulator, Arizona Sunshine, obviously another Vertigo Games title.
Yeah.
But this is something pretty new. You know, they took a risk, and it actually works a lot better for arcades than like the tabletop that are like 5 or 6 hours, because most people are going to arcades for just like a half hour, an hour with their friends, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, particularly like this kid friendly too, like they can just jump into it. So
yeah, exactly.
That wraps up. So congrats to the winners for tonight. We'll post the results in Discord a little bit later.
Yeah.
And then we're going to catch everything next week for the finals.
Yeah.
And so we're going to wrap up the EU, North American, home.
Yes.
Next week.
Everything. It's gonna be a pretty busy day on Tuesday, but we all look forward to it.
Maybe I'll tell some more checker stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. We'll come up with more random facts to keep people entertained.
Or the same ones. Hey, I don't know. I got
hey.
downloaded that.
Yeah. You know, just a little one-trick pony with your checkers
My checkers
trivia.
3500 BC, checkers.
Yeah. Every
Backgammon.
year at the same Christmas work holidays, like, hey, you know about checkers?
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, anyways, that's it for today. Thank you
Yep.
so much for tuning in, and we will catch you on Tuesday, 7 p.m., May 14th, and in Mountain Standard
We're
Time.
gonna wrap up the
I was
finals.
so close. Yes. Woo! Let's
Okay.
go.
All right.